Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spiral Podcast. Today's the Reaction Monday where I just look at things I've seen on social media and then I give my thoughts on them and just my opinions and just react to them. So let's get right into it. The first thing I saw was somebody posted something about Notre Dame after their loss to NIU in week 2 of the season. They won by 59, won by 25, won by 7, won by 42, won by 18, won by 37, and then won by 49. So I think this just highlights how good Notre Dame's been playing recently. Notre Dame can be a scary team going into the playoffs. So I'm assuming they'll be like a maybe 6, 7, 8 seeded team around there, most likely. Their schedule's not too terrible. I think they still have Louisville maybe, but I don't know. But other than that, like, Notre Dame could be scary in the playoffs. I think if NIU was like a game where they, like a trap game kind of, where they just weren't really focused in, weren't really locked in, if they can fix that, I think Notre Dame could probably be top. Like, if they would have won that game, they probably would be top 3 right now. They'd probably go Oregon, Ohio State, Notre Dame, just because of that win at Texas A&M, which has aged pretty well, and then all that stuff that I just said, all those huge wins. So Notre Dame could be scary. I want everybody to make sure that they're keeping an eye out for Notre Dame, because Notre Dame is going to be scary going into the playoffs. I'm assuming they'll make the playoffs because they don't have a championship game and their schedule's not too bad. But keep an eye out for Notre Dame, guys, because it could be a pretty big shocker if you aren't ready for them. Second thing I saw was somebody talking about an SEC classic of playing just terrible out-of-conference teams in November. And Alabama is playing Mercer on November 16th. Just let that sink in for a second. Mercer on November 16th. It's in November, and Alabama's playing Mercer. I mean, that is just crazy, bro. Mercer, first of all, is not a good team at all. They just really aren't good at all. It's not like they're playing like an Oregon or Ohio State in November. It's Mercer. It's just another easy way for them to get a win, where it's just like SEC teams always do. They play 4 out-of-conference games for some reason, and then they just get easy wins. Makes it easier to be bowl eligible, and then it's crazy to me just how much the SEC gets like leverage in the sport, because really the SEC isn't that great. Their schedule is hard. Their schedule is hard this year, but playing an out-of-conference team in November is just crazy to me. I think it really needs to change, because you see teams like Ohio State playing Indiana, Michigan, Penn State in November, and then you see things like this where they play Mercer. And it's like, how does that happen, you know? I mean, it's just not fair, I feel like, at that point, to all the other teams that have to play really solid teams, and it just is an easy way for them to get closer to the playoffs. And then also prepare for their rivalry game, but Alabama's rivalry game isn't even that hard because it's Auburn. So I don't know, man. It's just really annoying to see them being able to play an out-of-conference team in November. If it was 3 out-of-conference, non-conference games, that'd be great. But it's 4. But even if it was 4 and they just played them all in the beginning of the year, that would be better than playing 1 in November, because it's not even good for the sport. I don't care if you're an SEC fan or whatever. It's just not good for college football to be playing easy games in the prime time weeks of college football. So it's absolutely ridiculous, and it's getting really annoying having to see this when there could be way more great games going on. But instead we get Alabama at Mercer at 1 p.m. on a Saturday. It's just crazy to me. The final thing I saw is somebody just flat out said Penn State's a good team. And then they posted a photo, you'll probably see it behind me, of them being up 34-0 at the start of the third quarter against Washington. And, I mean, yeah, Penn State's good. I think, in comparison, you look at Washington, they beat Michigan. And you see Penn State beating 34-0. It's pretty impressive. Plus, Washington, they kept it really close with Indiana for a good part of that game. That's like Indiana's second closest game all season. So Washington is actually a pretty solid team, I think. I mean, I don't think they get quite enough credit for it. They have a really good quarterback. Their offense is pretty good, but they'll take more time to get to be a better team. But about Penn State, more specifically, yeah, like Penn State is a good team, except when they're playing Ohio State and Michigan or any really good top team. But Yeah, Penn State, their offense can be good at times. Like, Drew Aller is not a terrible quarterback, but he just struggles with the big ones. James Franklin, his coaching is kind of iffy sometimes. I think his preparation has to be in question at this point, but I've already talked about a lot about James Franklin and Penn State, so if you guys want to watch my other podcast from last week, then please go check them out. It means a lot to me, but yeah, Penn State is a solid team. I don't know if there should be number 6 necessarily, but yeah, Penn State, I think they don't get enough credit for how good they are sometimes. I think Penn State being top team is like something people don't really realize because, you know, they're just used to having 2 losses, finishing around 10 to 11th place every year in the polls, and then just not making the playoffs. But this year, it could be different for them since they're most likely going to make the playoffs since their schedule's beyond easy this year. I mean, they only had to play Ohio State, and you saw what happened when they played a good team. But, yeah, Penn State, like Notre Dame, is going to have a chance to really make some noise in the playoffs after not really making it a ton, really, especially Penn State. Notre Dame made it a few times, but Penn State especially, it's going to be interesting to see them in the playoffs, just how they match up with more top-tier SEC and other Big Ten schools like Oregon and Indiana if Indiana makes the playoffs. So, it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out, but yeah, Penn State is honestly underrated. I think they're still a really great team. Despite that loss to Ohio State, that was pretty sloppy and just not well managed or coached. But that's my reaction Monday. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Be sure to check out the other ones if you like this. It's really fun just looking at people's opinions on social media. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.